This is a confidential presentation by the International Centre for Trade Transparency in conjunction with the International Trade Council. The material presented herein is for informational purposes only and is not a solicitation to invest. The International Centre for Trade Transparency is a project of the International Trade Council. The company was incorporated in the United Kingdom on the 23rd of November 2022, with its registered offices located at 71 to 75 Shelton Street, Covent Garden, London, in the United Kingdom. The company was formed with the intention of being a subsidiary of the International Trade Council together with a mix of public and private ownership. The new entity will bring together customs, shipping, and trade rules data into a unified platform designed to provide clear and relevant data on international trade. The data includes product pricing, real-world buyers and suppliers, along with their detailed transaction history, supply chains, risk profiles, historical demand, and the forecasting of future market needs. There are two reasons why this is important. The first reason is that global supply chains are moving faster than ever. Virtually every business involved in the import or export, manufacturing, logistics or supply chain management wants to be able to immediately identify genuine buyers, understand what their trade volumes are, what price they're willing to pay, and what the rules of trade are to reach those buyers. Providing these organizations with this access to real-world supply chain data will help inform their decisions, allow them to predict and plan around disruptions, and let them compete with both new and established players on equal footing. The second reason that what we are doing is incredibly important is because there are new legislative requirements coming into force related to supply chain transparency. These supply chain transparency laws affect an estimated 330 million companies globally, forcing them to clearly identify their entire supply chain. The solution proposed by the International Trade Council under the new entity, the International Centre for Trade Transparency, provides full visibility of market demand and pricing for any product worldwide, immediate identification of potential customers and competitors, comparisons between potential customers by volume and risk profile, information on terms of trade, transaction history and demand profiles of target companies, detailed competitive advantage and risk matrix profiles for each product, target company or jurisdiction, the ability to map key contacts in target organizations, direct connections with qualified targets, enabling users to close details faster. The system will also overlay historical trade data with weather, port delay, exchange rate, and financial market data. This will allow the system to predict future pricing, demand, and risks which are associated with different products, buyers, suppliers, and markets. This is a full supply chain transparency solution, and the uses of the platform are enormous. The current board of International Centre for Trade Transparency is comprised of Lord John Desmond Waverley of the United Kingdom, Ambassador Sven Jurgensen of Estonia, Senator David Wells of Canada. Lord Waverley is a member of the UK House of Lords and has a keen interest in international affairs. He is a co-chair of the International Trade and Investment Council, founder of the eChamber Global, and chair of the Capital Finance International. Lord Waverley is also co-chair of several parliamentary committees related to freight, logistics and international trade. Ambassador Sven Jurgensen is an Estonian diplomat, with his most recent posting as the Estonian ambassador to the United Nations. Ambassador Jurgensen is also a former head of the UN Security Council and a former president of the UNICEF Executive Board. Senator David Wells is a sitting member of the Senate of Canada. Senator Wells is also a member of the Institute of Corporate Directors and is a founding chair of the Canadian Senate Standing Committee on Audit and Oversight. Additionally, he is also the former chair of the Committee on the Senate Estimates. There are two categories of competitors to the International Centre of Trade Transparency and Monitoring. The first category are those companies who provide supply chain transparency solutions. The second category are those software providers who offer simple bill of lading data exports. First, we will talk about the providers offering supply chain transparency software systems and where they fit in the grand scheme of things. The rise in the number of supply chain transparency solution providers can be attributed to the rapid legislative changes taking place globally. These changes affect an estimated 330 million companies and are variously targeted at reducing greenhouse emissions, eliminating child labour, and enhancing food and product safety. Almost all of the various legislations require companies to document all parts of their supply chain, down to their raw material inputs. The largest of the supply chain management software companies is Altana AL. Altana AL claims that their solution enables users to document their supply chains, get more information on each supplier, and connect with alternative suppliers. As with the majority of solutions, users of the Altana AL solution must first input information on their own suppliers, and then request these suppliers to identify their suppliers, and so on down the line. In some ways, this is like providing a software spreadsheet as a tool, empty of data. Altana AL does differ from most other providers in that it also cross-references data provided by users, thereby allowing each to identify alternative suppliers and to connect next uses of supply chains to one another. Like most other solutions, the Altana AL model also takes various public information, including negative media, to set up trade alerts. The company has recently raised $122 million from a consortium of investors. The downside of Altana, like all other supply chain models, is that their system is fairly simple. They do not provide an external automated audit mechanism to ensure that suppliers are truly clean. They do not provide current market pricing and/or combine that information with port, weather, shipping, regulatory, foreign exchange, sanctions and other key data points to allow users to pinpoint key issues in potential markets or with potential suppliers or customers. They do not offer market trend analysis, leaving users unable to plot market trends nor identify future opportunities. And they do not offer forecasting of prices and demand. There are other companies operating in this sector. SourceMap, SourceDay, and Leverage all operate in a similar manner. Certa provides some procurement automation services in their system, but without the supply chain mapping aspects, and Data Gumbo are more focused on smart contracts between suppliers and purchasers. Regardless of the system, they all only provide a very partial solution. The companies rely on a combination of self-audit, automated forms, and negative media monitoring, and none focus on actual end-user pricing, price comparisons, regulatory costs which add to prices, automated due diligence, trend analysis, offer market suggestions, or have any real use over and above their limited capabilities in their respective niches. They have managed to raise a great deal of money, and some, like SourceMap, are mildly successful in their niche. The second group of competitors are those companies who offer downloads of bills of lading. Bills of lading are the documents used to record carriage of goods, typically at sea. They typically list a product code, description, buyer, seller, quantity, price, and weight. The companies appearing in the table below all offer various subscription models to bill of lading data, with one big limitation. Most only have a handful of source countries. For countries not offering direct data feeds, the software companies use mirror data. An example of mirror data is where they claim to have the import data for a country like Nepal, but actually they're using export data from the USA, India, and other countries to rebuild what some of Nepal's imports might look like. This does not give anywhere near the complete picture of imports into the country, nor can it help identify any anomalies, goods sold on the high seas, or overall market trends. Indeed, none of the companies listed herein calculate the total landed cost, taking into account the many rules applies to various goods trades. Nor do any of the systems allow the user to analyze market demand or growth, analyze risks, undertake due diligence on potential trade partners, or go into any of the regulatory compliance areas. Also, none of these solutions offer supply chain mapping. Of the listed companies, the International Trade Council appears to have the largest true source of bills of lading and customs data for imports and exports, originated from each country. The proposed solution will also be the only one with forecasting, analytics, mapping, risk management, regulatory compliance, calculated landed cost, market identification, and other tools needed by the average exporter. We believe that there is no competitor to our complete solution. The International Trade Council has direct relationships with 418 chambers of commerce, 78 government export promotion and investment agencies, 28,000 corporations, and 2.4 million newsletter subscribers. The overall reach of a council is, however, much larger. Many of the council's constituent chambers of commerce and government agencies share information about the council's activities with their own audiences. Government export promotion agencies and chambers of commerce use existing data provided by the ITC to look for potential buyers of goods produced by their own countries, understand market prices, and learn the rules of the market entry. Most of this information is passed on directly to their own companies. Since the war in Ukraine has started, the International Trade Council has also formed direct relationships and signed memorandums of understanding with the Ukrainian Cabinet of Ministers, Ukrainian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the largest chamber of commerce in Ukraine, the Ukrainian Clusters Alliance, the Institute of Management Consultants of Ukraine, the Ukrainian Automotive Cluster, the Association of Industry Automation of Ukraine, the US-Ukrainian Business Council, and DIIA Business, alongside the Export Promotion Office of Ukraine, which is a Government of Ukraine institution focused on promoting exports of Ukrainian goods and services. Many of these organizations use the data provided by the International Trade Council to help Ukrainian exporters to match with potential foreign customers. The International Trade Council has also received official awards for this work from the Ukrainian Clusters Alliance. There are numerous potential audiences for the system. Target customers include government trade promotion agencies, government investment agencies, custom bureaus, statistic agencies, regional economic development agencies, and similar agencies under the control of a government. Chambers of commerce, business associations, professional associations, and industry organizations. Supply chain, logistics, and shipping firms. Banks, trade finance, and trade insurance companies. Corporations involved in manufacturing, importing, exporting, and related service providers. Standards bodies, non-profit organizations, and other organizations involved in international trade, supply chain transparency, sanctions, monitoring, and similar activities. The potential for the new platform is astounding. Nevertheless, it is important that we narrow down an initial target audience, thereby ensuring maximum uptake with the least amount of risk. The first iteration of a program will be targeted exclusively at importers and exporters. These companies have a desire to obtain direct contacts with buyers and suppliers in foreign markets. They also wish to understand current future market prices of certain products. Many also want to analyze the demand for their particular product and learn the rules associated with entering their product into a chosen market. Essentially, any company looking for a foreign buyer or supplier is a potential candidate for the software system. The system uses real-life, live trade and customs data in a way that no other system does or can. Secondary to this market are those companies who are required to comply with various supply chain transparency laws. These companies include manufacturers, importers, exporters, wholesalers, or retailers from across the globe. In the case of a new EU-wide legislation, only large companies are directly required to comply with the supply chain laws. However, because they must document the supply chain through their smaller suppliers, then those suppliers will also need to know their own supply chains. Supply chain transparency laws, in their various forms, directly impact almost 333 million companies globally. We are building a solution that no one else offers. Upon launch, we plan to offer a freemium subscription and a per-access model. Companies enrolling on the freemium level will be able to access a certain number of queries per year before having to upgrade to a paid level. Alternatively, a freemium user could stay at their current level but pay for queries on a per-use basis. As an example of this scenario, a user might want to find out the average price that importers in the USA pay for apples. This query would cost them 1 credit. The user might then want to retrieve a list of all companies importing apples in the USA. This would cost another credit. From there, the user might like to identify individual contacts in companies, look at the target company credit history, look at buying trends, retrieve information about competitors, and predict historical market prices. Each of these additional scenarios will cost more credits, with the results being unique to the individual user. Paid subscribers will receive a certain number of credits bundled into their plan. They will also have access to a greater number of features and a greater look-back period for transactions, or access to forecasting tools, APIs, or raw data downloads. Some add-on features of the new system includes the detailed analysis of buyers of select products, prices that buyers have paid to each supplier, transaction histories of buyers, contact information of buyers, buyer credit ratings, terms of trade and other financial information, historical demand and payment trend, buyer risk profiling, and other functions. For companies interested in sourcing products or understanding their competitors, the software will also be able to offer competitor lookup, competitor pricing, customers and sales history, contacts of competitors, their terms of trade, historical transactions and risk profiles. Using historical trade data overlaid with weather and financial data, we can also offer subscribers tools which will enable them to forecast future pricing of products, displaying both the raw pricing and the total landed cost. Future demand by geographical region, country, state or target company. Future available supply by geographical region or target company. There are other add-on features which can be built, including anomaly monitoring, product diversion monitoring, HS code mismatch, flagging where markets are undervalued, overvalued, automatic analysis of risks within supply chains, supply chain bottlenecks, and much more. The majority of these features will be accessible across all membership plans, although the lookup period and cost per credit will vary by membership level. In this way, users pay as little or as much as they need to, and take themselves on a journey to obtain the information most useful to them. Our path to market is simple. We will first launch with a freemium model. This plan will be offered to existing members of the International Trade Council and provide basic access to a strictly limited number of results and limited functionality. There will be an option to pay for additional information, which will be provided at a premium price on a per credit basis. We believe that we will quickly capture a reasonable sized market by converting existing ITC members into users of the new platform. Following on from this, we will launch the subscription service. This service will bundle a number of credits, with extra credits being able to be purchased at a discount. Subscribers will also have access to enhanced features that are not available on the pay-per-use freemium plan. From launch onwards, we will map all data queries so that we can analyze the features that customers use the most. With this data, we can refine existing tools or build additional tools which are based on customers' needs. We will also be able to trend analysis based on customers' queries. For example, what products are searched for the most by country? What is in most demand? What products are most sensitive within supply chains? We will also encourage customers to input more information about their own offerings, provide options to appear at the top of the search results, and other add-on functionalities which will give an additional competitive advantage to the platform. Our fourth step will be to build out a collection of AI tools which will overlay weather, port delay, foreign exchange, and other data. We can then use the data to forecast future demand, trends, and risks for products, supply chains, and even financial markets. Finally, we will release third-party APIs to allow other systems to integrate with our product. Those integrations would likely be for trade finance institutions, banks, insurance companies, hedge funds, statistics agencies, customs agencies, and similar organizations. We believe that we have made reasonably conservative forecasts. We already have the data, a survey of the information that companies most wish to see, a proven business model, and a target customer base who are already members of the International Trade Council. Our initial focus will be on developing and launching the minimum viable product in the fastest amount of time. Based on current estimates, once the first round of fundraising is complete, it will take approximately 7 months to develop and to do a soft launch of the new platform. We expect to enroll approximately 76,080 companies in the first year, which is roughly a quarter of the membership base of the International Trade Council. Of this number, we only expect 1,280 to be paying users. By year 2, we expect to have on board the majority of ITC users, as well as direct members of ITC constituent chambers of commerce. We also expect to start transitioning a limited number of government export promotion agencies to the new platform. From there, we carry on with a 10% month-by-month growth for freemium users, with a 20% conversion rate of those freemium users into essential level subscribers. Professional users are forecast to convert at a rate of 5% from freemium, enterprise at a rate of 0.5%, and premium at a rate of 0.1%. Our revenue path follows a basic income path, with monthly subscriptions being represented herein. In order to provide a more conservative forecast, we've not included users purchasing add-on credits, although that is something that is definitely part of the business model. Instead, we prefer to provide projections solely based on users subscribing to the system. The majority of those users would then take the upgrade path to other subscription levels once they find that the per-credit model is too costly for their needs. The majority of the income will be derived from companies registering at the lowest paid subscription level. We expect to break even in approximately 18 months after launch. It is expected that we will forecast revenues at least every 6 months during the first 5 years of operation. The company will have 100,000 shares, with 20,000 shares on offer to the general public. The bulk of the shares will be held by the International Trade Council, as it is the organisation providing both the data and migrating its members to the new platform. Directors of a company are remunerative in shares for the first 18 to 24 months of service. The price per share is $300. The minimum amount of shares able to be allocated to a single entity is 10 shares, or $3,000 worth. There is a forecasted cumulative dividend of $4,002 per share by the end of the 5th year of operation. We do not expect to release any dividends until the end of the 3rd year of business, thereby enabling us to build up our capital reserve. The ultimate exit for shareholders will be a public float. Other options include a takeover by target institutions, likely a bank which is heavily involved in trade finance, or a commodity trading firm. The information contained herein is non-binding and is not a solicitation to invest. Not all material information is presented in this document, including, but not limited to, certain trade secrets. We are only able to deal with qualified investors. If you are interested in working with us, please email info@icittm.org. We would be happy to have a discussion.